Right, well, the Senzo Meyiwa murder case has adjourned for the day, but for now we're crossing to our senior reporter, Chriselda Lewis, who is with the former Community Safety MEC Sizakele Nkosi-Malobane, whose name was mentioned, of course. And I understand, Chriselda, that the former MEC would like to clear her name, has been implicated apparently in the case, and one wonders why people don't wait to go to court and instead talking to the media as they're doing at the moment.
Well, Flo, let's start here. Absolutely, you're correct. The matter has been adjourned until tomorrow. We're expecting the cross-examination of the forensic detective, Thabo Mosia, to continue tomorrow, as you would have seen throughout the day, cross-examination by Advocate Zandile Mshololo. But you would have heard yesterday quite a number of bombshells that had been revealed inside the High Court in Pretoria. Recall that Advocate Malisela Tifo had mentioned, amongst other things, that Kelly Khumalo, the girlfriend of the late Senzo Meyiwa, he says, Advocate Malisela Tifo, that they plan to bring a witness who will testify that Kelly Khumalo had a hand in killing Senzo Meyiwa, mistakenly, is what he said. And he said there will be a witness that will be further called to testify that senior police officers, including in the presence of the former Community Safety MEC, was present when there was an alleged plan to hatch a cover-up of the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. So the former MEC joins me now this afternoon. She is quite perturbed by the allegations that have been made inside that court, and she joins me now. I'm just going to take a seat here for just a moment. Former MEC, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on SABC News this afternoon. First of all, let me get your reaction. Startling revelations made inside the High Court in Pretoria. Allegations that you were part of a cover-up in terms of what happened to Senzo Meyiwa. Your response?
I mean, that's nonsense. For one, particularly a learned person that like Advocate Tifo, to come up with such allegations. As an MEC who's a public representative, who's responsible for safety and security of our provincial citizens, I visited a number of houses where people have lost their loved ones, and in most cases it's people who have died violently. I mean, I've been with you when we visited the homes of those people who were the 7 people who were killed in a house in Vlakfontein. I've been to houses of policemen who have been killed either at police station or at their residence. I've been in houses, even in spots where women have been abducted and killed. And why then, with this particular incident, or such a horrific accident that have had citizens in this country, that we should actually sit and plot? Why Senzo in particular? First and foremost, I never knew him except as a footballer, and of course because I knew him because I'm a fan of Orlando Pirates, so I follow Orlando Pirates whenever he plays, but personally I don't know him. So why should we choose one citizen out of all the other citizens where we managed, in most cases we managed to secure convictions in their case? And I was also hoping in this one in particular we were going to secure an arrest as well as a successful conviction. And why choose to actually plot against getting justice for Senzo? So that's why I'm saying I'm actually perturbed, I'm surprised, but also I think the advocate in this one is talking a lot of nonsense.
Former MEC, for the benefit of our viewers, I want to play a clip for those who may not have heard what was said in court. The allegations that were made by Advocate Malisela Tifo. In that clip where he says you were present. Let's play that clip in our studio now, and I'll come back to you in just a short moment.
On the same day, there was a meeting in that house between the senior management of the police in Gauteng. That will be including the MEC of Safety and Liaison, by then Nkosi-Malobane, with the family.
MEC, former MEC, we've just played that clip. The allegation is that there was some sort of meeting that had taken place at the home of Kelly Khumalo's mother, which we now know is the crime scene. A meeting that was held where there was this so-called hatched cover-up of what happened to Senzo Meyiwa. Do you know anything about him? Did you have a meeting with the family of Kelly Khumalo, or even those that were inside the house after the incident had taken place?
Okay, I think it is important to indicate to the members of the public, because on that particular day, definitely I did visit the home, or the Khumalo's home. But before I did that, I went to hospital where Senzo Meyiwa, where I was actually declared dead, you know. I arrived there whilst the forensic team was busy with whatever that they were doing, and I think it took about 2 hours for them to do their job in terms of securing evidence that is needed for us to be able to do a proper investigation about this case. After Senzo had been taken by a government mortuary morgue, we then went to Kelly Khumalo's home to go and sympathize with the family. Remember, I regarded those people as Senzo's friend, as well as Kelly's mother, who was actually closer to Senzo through her daughter. But in that house also there was 2 best friends of Senzo that Senzo picked up. One of them he picked up earlier in a highway to actually come and visit him. The other one was actually the one that he left there was a soccer match on that particular day. He then left with that particular individual to Kelly Khumalo's home. You know, so those were not the only. The Khumalos were not the only people who were in the house that we met. We also met quite a few people. Because this is a case, I'm not going to mention how many people were there initially and how many people did we meet, but it's people that we are actually going to sympathize with because they've just lost a loved one. Remember, even at the hospital, I met Senzo's wife, or estranged wife. I'm not sure whether his wife or estranged wife. And I also met a number of soccer leadership, particularly Sheikh Mashaba. I met him there as well. After we've met with the Khumalos, we also went to Durban and meet with Senzo's family to also go and sympathize with them after they've lost their loved one, but also to give them some form of information that we received when interacting with the people who were there when Senzo passed on.
So are you saying, on the basis of what we heard inside court, you know nothing of an alleged cover-up plan? Because what Advocate Malisela Tifo is also saying is that there were senior police officers, including yourself. Did no such meeting take place?
Really, if they wanted to cover up, why go and cover up in a scene where an incident have taken place and cover up in front of people who loved? By then, people who loved that particular individual, why didn't they do it at the police station? Why didn't they do in an office of a commissioner? Why specifically went at the crime scene that was still fresh, that was less than 4 hours or less than 5 hours, that they can go and plan there? I've been to a number of people's homes to go and sympathize. That is why I'm saying whatever that advocate is saying, it is very disappointing and very unfortunate, because I've been to people's homes and I won't stop going to people's homes whenever people are actually having challenges in terms of what has happened to them. I'm still going, even if I'm no longer an MEC for safety and security. There are a number of families that I visited after their loved ones have been killed, either in their homes or in the street or anywhere else. I've been there before, and I won't stop today to go and sympathize with the people who have lost their loved one. That's why I'm saying this. What you actually say, what this gentleman is actually saying, for me, it's actually a surprise, and it's a surprise because he's also an African person, and he knows what whenever there's such incidents, after the scene has been cleared and declared that it's safe for any person to actually enter that particular scene, we are actually allowed to engage with the Khumalos. And if we were where we, if yes, that was a crime scene, but where we were supposed to meet with the Khumalas, except at their homes after it has been cleared by the forensic team. Remember, I've indicated that I met the forensic team at the hospital, and I believe, although I don't have that information, it was after they visited the scene at the Khumalos, collected whatever evidence that they were supposed to collect, and maybe after they've done that, they then indicated to the family that it is safe for the family to enter the scene, and hence we were allowed to go in, because when we went in, the family and two other people who were in the house were also allowed to be there, and those are the people that we met.
And I want to talk about that former MEC, because one of the other bones of contention inside court yesterday was how the crime scene had been treated. And I'm going to ask you this because you were MEC at the time. You just alluded to the fact that the crime scene was fresh. You said 4 or 5 hours after the incident had taken place, correct? From your observation, because the defense is relying heavily on the fact that the crime scene had not been properly concealed, there might have been some form of contamination at the scene. As the former MEC of community safety, and what you saw there, are you satisfied that that scene was handled properly?
I'm not a professional, unfortunately, and giving an opinion on this one, I'll be giving an opinion as a lay person. The only time a crime scene is actually safe to enter is when the professionals, in this case the forensic team, have done whatever that they were supposed to do, taking photos, collecting evidence, etc., etc. And after they've done that, it is then that they can allow people into the crime scene. Some of the crime scenes take days before they are cleared. Some of the crime scenes take hours before they are cleared. Some of the crime scene actually takes forever. I mean, you know, there are crime scenes that up until today, after 2-3 years, people are not able to use that particular area because there's certain evidence that the people are actually following. So, as I've indicated, I'm not a professional, and I won't be able to give a professional answer to that particular issue.
Just very quickly, we're running out of time, a former MEC. You said that you were also at the hospital. Another issue inside court, Advocate Malisela Tifo saying that Senzo Meyiwa was taken to the mortuary to go and to be dumped at the hospital. The occupants in the house knew that Senzo Meyiwa was dead. That was part of the cover-up. According to your knowledge, you were at the hospital.
Yes, I was.
Was Senzo Meyiwa declared dead at the hospital, from what you know?
We actually, when I arrived at the hospital, Senzo Meyiwa has already passed on, and I didn't immediately enter where he was because the forensic teams were still busy with him. There were quite a lot of people who were at the hospital, including his teammates and members of the public, and that is a private hospital. It doesn't have a mortuary. So obviously, after a person has been attended to by the professional teams, first either the doctors there, the nurses, they then immediately indicate to the forensic team to actually start collecting and when I arrived there, it was not the doctors that were busy with Senzo, it was already the forensic team that were busy with Senzo, and we waited for hours before we even, and I was with Senzo's wife, giving her support, and also some of his team members that were crying at the scene, also giving them support. So I'm not sure which mortuary is he talking about, because most of our private clinics or private hospitals in this country don't have mortuaries. Hence, whenever your loved one has died, whether naturally or through accident, you have to remove him after certain hours for them to then be able to use the facilities.
Finally, you dismiss all allegations that you were involved in a cover-up.
I'm definitely dismissing that rubbish that man is actually is saying, and again, I will never stop giving support to our people whenever they're actually having problems. I supported Senzo's family, his mother and father when the father was still alive. I've supported the Kedi Kumalo's family. I also supported Senzo's wife and Senzo's teammates and friends, and I will continue to do so whenever such incident happen. And I'm hoping less incidents like this one do happen, because no one wishes to lose a child.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Thank you very much indeed. The former MEC of Community Safety here in Gauteng, Sizakele Nkosi-Malobane, dismissing what came out of court yesterday, Flo, saying that she was not part of any cover-up relating to the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. She says she was there to provide support in a capacity as the former MEC of Community Safety. What we're also hearing from her now, remember there was a bone of contention inside court where the defense is arguing that Senzo Meyiwa had died at the primary scene, which is the home in Vosloorus of Kelly Khumalo's mother. What we're hearing from the MEC now, former MEC, is that what she knows is that at the hospital where she was also present is where Senzo Meyiwa had been declared dead. So she says she knows nothing about a meeting between senior police officials where she was present, allegedly, where this plan was hatched to conceal what happened on the night that Senzo Meyiwa was killed.
All right, thanks very much, Chriselda Lewis, with that exclusive interview there, talking to Sizakele Nkosi-Malobane, the former Gauteng Community Safety MEC, whose name was brought up there by Advocate Defu. She is indeed there at pains to clear her name, that she had absolutely nothing to do with a cover-up when it comes to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. We'll certainly bring you more on that tomorrow afternoon. Well, that's it from me, Flo Ledwaba, and the rest of the team here at SA Today.